to open the sachet, squirted in.
Right, how's it going? Okay, so I just want to do a quick introduction to this track and just speak about it for a minute before I share it with you and let you know what's going on. So basically, it's called Uproar, and it's a track by me and my very good friend Gaz. Now, the usual thing happens whenever me and Gaz get together. He will quite often steer me away from what I would usually do. So sometimes, we might try making reggae, or we might try making other genres of music. Some of the other tracks that we've made are like Bounce Like a Budgie. If you've heard that track, you'll know what I'm going on about. There's another one called Don't Mess With the Hedgehogs. If you haven't heard that, please do go and check it out. And the same thing happened with this, and it was Gaz's idea to sit down and try and make a ska track. So I don't really listen to ska. I know a few people that do. And it actually involves sitting down and listening to a few ska tracks and, trying to figure out some of the sounds and the tempo and stuff like that. This is what we ended up coming up with. And I will just say, I've been sat on this tune for, it's since July 2022. I don't know why I've sat on it so long. Partly it's because the usual thing happened where we end up writing some lyrics. And quite often with the lyrics, they end up a little less serious, and we really just start having a laugh with it and seeing what happens. And that's exactly what happened with this. And I think I knew that I had to be in the right mood to sing it, to really carry the lyrics in the way they're meant to be. I think that's one reason why I've took so long to get round to it. And, then other projects come along and you start working on other things and then kind of forget about it for a while. But yeah, just recently, I realised I was definitely in the right mood to record these lyrics, so I had a bit of a recording session, and this is how it turned out. I'm not going to go too far into the production stuff, but there are just a couple of elements that really sort of made it complete and pulled it all together. One of which, just to show you quickly, is the drums, and it's that classic kind of rim shot, almost side stick rim shot sound on the drums, which sounded like this. And then obviously with, a little bit of reverb on there to give it some atmosphere and give it that kind of live sound. So that was that. And then the only other sound, which I've never really used before in any projects, and it's this. It's what's called a contact library, and which is essentially a selection of instruments that you can play on the keyboard. And this one is called Vintage Organs. And I remember we went through a few sounds on this, and this was the melody that we ended up at. So that was that, and then along with that was just some brass style sounds which came together like this. And then, yeah, all together with the bass and the drums, it did start to sound a little bit like ska. But anyway, I'll show you the track in a second. The only other thing that I will say is the lyrics did go through a few changes before we arrived at the final version. Especially the opening the sachet. That was definitely a different lyric, and I'm not going to say what it was. I'll see if you can figure that out for yourself. And the other one was, showed her a carrot and she gave it a go. Initially, that was, it just smelt like carrot up my nose. And then that was changed to, showed her my carrot and she gave it a go. But I think, yeah, we did change a few lyrics along the way to sort of keep it a little bit radio friendly. But this is it. This is Uproar, and it's not out yet. It will be out in a couple of weeks, and by that I mean on all the streaming services and streaming platforms and that kind of thing. But for now, have a listen here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoy it. It's Uproar, and it'll be out soon. And that's it. Until the next video, take it easy, stay creative, keep smiling. Sound.
to the front room, and she was there just laying in the chair. She caught a whiff of the perfume, then jumps up, starts giving me a stare. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. I went down to the bookies, went and put a tenner on my favourite horse. I've never been that lucky. And then I dropped my winnings and everyone saw. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. I went into the cafe, full English is cheap as chips. Tried to open the sachet, squirted in her face and she had a fit. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. Down the road on my scooter, man in front walks into the road. I give a blast of the hooter, he turns round, starts giving it a go. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. I get home in the evening, can't get a picture on my TV. Girlfriend comes in screaming, saying there's a spider on the toilet seat. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. It turned into an uproar, and all we did was bounce on the floor. Bounce on the floor.